if your son went on a trip with friends and never came home, what conversations would you wish you had before he left? All right. Um, and like I said, I give you guys a little time because you guys don't know the questions, and I do that for a reason because I want you to be as candid as possible.
Mhm.
Me, I don't even think about the answers to the questions. I just answer them, and I think that's the best way to do it sometimes. Um, and with me personally, the first thing I would have told my son is, "I love you, son." But here's my thing: Nolan, he was in college, so it's a little bit different for him. All right, he had a little bit more freedom. If you would say, when you're in college, you're still a child. You know, you're still 18 years old. And you're probably still living at your mom and dad's house, so it's a little different. But with me, still, I would have told Nolan, go with somebody that I know.
Mm.
All right, if it's
Mhm.
nobody
Mhm.
that I don't know, you're not going. All right, period. I have to know is somebody, a friend, a cousin, somebody. Take your little brother, somebody there that I know that can reach out to me if something happens to you.
Mhm.
All right,
Mhm.
that's my biggest thing is I need to make sure that it's somebody there with you that I know. I know their mom. I know their dad. Now I see why my mom and dad always wanted to meet my friend's parents.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh
You
yeah.
and
better.
you know
You
the
better.
parents
Right.
because these things happen too often now where you don't know anybody any of your child's friends, and you don't know where these people coming from, what backgrounds they from, and things like
Mhm.
that. And then you see things like this that happen, that nobody looked out for him, nobody tried to find him, nobody stayed there, everybody just left him. I read a little bit of the
Mm.
story,
Mm. Mm.
but of course you're going to tell your child I love you, but I'm not just going to send my son out there with me not knowing who anybody is.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that the parents, they might have known. No, I don't know that. But me personally, I need to have somebody there with you, especially in those situations. You don't want to play the race card in these situations, but you see it a lot. They're in Mississippi. All right. We don't know what goes on, but we know how Mississippi is. All right. That is
Mhm.
the old South. All right. When you hear Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, that's the whole South. All right. So
Mhm.
it could be some tricky stuff going on down there. You never really know with those situations. But I'm not sending my son out somewhere if I don't know who the friends are, who their parents are, where I can be in contact with my son if something happens. All right. I know it's somebody that's going to have my son's back when he's out on a boating trip because I can't
Mhm.
be there. So
Mhm.
that's just how I would handle it. So let's start with Don on this one.
Absolutely.
What would you say to your son or your child? What would the conversation be before he left?
I have this saying with my kids. I have two girls. I wish I had some sons. If y'all got sons y'all want to spare, I'll take them in Jesus' name. I need to play football with somebody. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I tell my kids this all the time when they leave the door. I say, go with God. Go with God. Or I may say, pray on the way. Just a small little testimony. One of my kids, they left to go to school, and our school was right around the corner. And so I said, I want you to pray while you're walking to school. And she was like, okay. And I could tell she didn't hear me. And I was like, I want you to pray when you go to school. And it just prompted my spirit, say it harder. I go, pray when you go to school. She was like, okay. Well, the girl prayed when she went to school. She almost got hit by a car
Mm.
when she was crossing. I think it was a group of kids that was crossing, and the car almost hit her. And I'm like, thank the Lord she prayed. Because you never know. Sometimes we need to be able to hear a word from the Lord, and kids can also hear a word from the Lord. And so, to keep keep our kids in a spiritual connotation, you got to take them to the Spirit. I kid
Mm.
you not. And you got to speak to them spiritually at the end of the day. And so I'm like, hey, pray, keep God first. Whatever you're doing, put him first and watch what he does. And thank the Lord she's alive to this day. I kid you not. But that's what I would tell them. I'm like, pray, keep the Lord in your mind at the end of the day.